Well, in honor of the Oscars and it being Oscar season, we're deciding to hand out some of our own awards to retirement planning, financial planning categories. We've got a few that we've going to throw to Ryan, let him explain them to us, have a little bit of fun today in this episode. Stay tuned. Welcome into Perfect Game Retirement. Glad to have you again on the show. Ben George with Ryan Ledden and Black Oak Asset Management. Ryan, are you a big movies guy? I don't know if you watch the Oscars or not, but probably watch some movies, right?
Yeah, I would like to say I used to, but the last time I've been to the actual movie theater, I cannot remember. And like having enough time just to sit down and watch a movie has been a while. So I love them. I mean, I would probably put like Shawshank at the very top. Like if that movie's on like TBS or TNT or whatever on a Sunday afternoon, and I'm actually home, I'll sit there and watch that entire movie. That one never gets old. My kids love the movie. So, Shawshank, Gladiator, and Saving Private Ryan. Those are probably my three like go-tos that I'll watch. I'll find time to watch those if I can.
Yeah, I don't think I've been to the theater since COVID, probably. My wife have been a couple times, watched some of her movies, but there's a few that are out there that I would like to go back and maybe see at some point, but just I don't ever think about doing it. So we'll maybe get back in the theater at some point. But today we're gonna have a little bit of fun with this because it's Oscar season, right? You know, whether or not you watch the Oscars, you're familiar with Best Picture, Best Actor in a Leading Role, and so forth and so on. Today, we're going to apply those to financial planning and retirement planning. And Ryan, I'll let you hand out the awards today as we go through this. So what I'll do is I'll throw you the category and let you hand out the Oscar in your retirement strategy and how you prepare things at Black Oak Asset Management. So let's start off with that big category, the Best Actor in a Leading Role. So who would fall or what would fall into this category for you?
I would probably give that to just one, if you can start early to invest, but the consistent investing just over time. I mean, that seems to be the most foolproof plan if you can when it comes to this. So yeah, I would give the best leading actor role to just consistent savings over time, especially if you have those 401k plans that you have a match. And again, I stereotype 401k plans, but you may not have a job where a 401k is the plan. It may be a 401a. It may be a 457. It may be a 403b. It may be a simple IRA. You may be have your own business and it's a SEP IRA or a solo 401k. And I know that's those numbers and letters are mind-numbing, but that's just where they're listed. Really, in the IRS tax code is where they get all those funny numbers and letters from. So that's really no rocket science behind it. That's just where they're listed in the tax code. But just staying very consistent, especially if you get paid biweekly or weekly, however the cadence that you do get paid is to stay consistent with that. And again, that's what they call dollar cost averaging. You're doing it a little bit at a time. You're not trying to time the market, if you will. You're just putting your head down and saving as much as possible. And obviously those younger people out there, please, it's just so much easier down the road if you started early. That is not rocket science information either, but it's amazing how quote unquote difficult it is for younger people to save. Especially in a retirement plan, because maybe they're coming out of school with student loan debt, or they want to go out and get that nice car and have a car payment, and before they know it, there's $2,000 out the window for those various things, and then they got to live somewhere. So anyway, but trying to really carve out and make room for that plan discipline is huge. So if you can do that consistent investing, definitely capture that match. I'm a big proponent of capturing the match, no matter kind of what stage you are in your financial plan. I just think it's money you can't leave on the table. So I would readjust. And I know there's some the people out there who on talk shows and radio shows who would say different, but I'm a big proponent of at least capturing the match. That really builds that momentum in your retirement plan.
Yeah, when you think about the best actor, you think about just decades of reliable performance, right? Just showing up year after year, delivering. That's what savings and investing can do for you if you do it consistently, right? So good first category to lead off with. All right, let's shift and go to the best supporting actress. Now, behind every good performance, right, every good leading performance, there's that supporting role that kind of brings everything together and makes it all work. So for you, what's that best supporting role?
Yeah, that for me, because it's a special place for me when it comes to our planning that we do here, is definitely tax planning. I feel like if we know how to navigate the tax code, and that's when I say navigating the tax code, that is a broad brush statement. But if we know how the tax code works and how we can, the rules are there in place. We pay our fair share. We do what we have to. We pay what we need to, but there's ways to lessen that burden. And again, we could have 3-4 episodes on just this one category. Maybe we'll do that, but we'll go through and look at, okay, what tax rate are we in now? Like, do we want to save in a pre-tax 401k? Do we want to save, if we have the option of a Roth 401k, do we save there? Do we save outside in an IRA or a Roth? So there's so many things to think of now, but also down the line in the future. And again, the biggest wild card, and we've talked about this on this show many a times and in the radio show as well, the biggest wild card is we don't know 20, 30, 40 years from now what those tax rates are going to be. Again, if I looked in my crystal ball that I do not have, I would think they're going to be higher. So let's maybe plan around that, but we can run different scenarios where the tax rates are the same, the tax rates are higher in the future, the tax rates are lower in the future. So tax planning is huge because it just trickles down into everything, especially when you get to retirement, because your Social Security could potentially be taxed depending on what your taxable income is. Your Medicare premiums could potentially be higher. So there's just so many things that from a tax standpoint, not an income standpoint, but a tax standpoint, how are we structured between our Roth accounts, our post-tax accounts, and our pre-tax accounts? How do all those things work together? But then even getting into the more of the weeds, even the types of accounts you have, it depends on what investments you have in those types of accounts and how they're taxed. So it's not only what you own, it's what account you own them in. And again, that's really in the weeds, but that's the part that we love nerding out on from a tax standpoint. So if you can keep even 1% more in your pocket instead of to the IRS, that's a huge win. And then increase that by 5, 10, 15% that you can continue to keep in your pocket and not continue to move up in a tax bracket. That's a huge benefit. So that's where a lot of times an advisor, when we do tax planning, I mean, sometimes people want to get so caught up in just the rates of return and, oh, you charge a fee and, does your fee cover the beating the market? I'm like, if you're looking for an advisor to do that, that's not a reason to hire an advisor. Is taking all this stuff together and coming up with a plan and working around the tax code to see if we can potentially save you money from a tax planning standpoint.
Yeah, much like that Best Supporting Actress role, it doesn't always get top billing, but probably deserves it, right? And tax planning is right in that category. All right, we're handing out Best Original Screenplay next. So, before the film, there's always a screenplay. You got to put the thought into it. You got to lay out the story, right, before you can even shoot anything. So, if you're handing out the Best Original Screenplay, Ryan, what are you giving it to?
Yeah, this is probably, again, I would say tax planning is like my favorite part of what we do when we start doing the comprehensive planning that we do. But then the next part is probably the retirement income plan. That this is probably maybe the center hub of it, but maybe it's just one spoke. And I think we'll get to the center hub here in a second. But the retirement income plan, what can you get in retirement when we compile all these things together and you have your Social Security benefits, maybe times 2 if you're married, maybe you have a pension. We work with plenty of couples that have 2 pensions, so you have 2 Social Securities, which is kind of sort of a pension. They just don't call it a pension, but it's kind of what it is. Pension from your employer, or maybe from the state or federal government or a local municipality. You have a pension, and then whatever your nest egg, whatever you can save in that nest egg and your different types of accounts, what it can produce. But when you throw all that together, what kind of income can you expect? And a lot of that varies. It varies on what your standard of living is. What is the debt that you have on a monthly basis? I know probably everyone out there, when they go to retirement, they say, "Oh, I'm not going to have a house payment. I'm not going to have this. I'm not going to have a car payment." Well, that'd be ideal, and that's great, and that's what we're going to shoot for. But then there's some people that do have those things. So what is those overhead expenses on a monthly basis? What do you want to do in retirement? And that's the thing we want to ask our clients is, what do you want? let's start there. And then maybe we have to make sacrifices here and there. Maybe we don't. But what do you want in retirement? So that's what we want to start with. So the retirement income plan is huge. What can you expect from an income standpoint based off of all those sources coming in at once?
All right, very good one. That's very important. That retirement income. Again, if you want to sit down and begin talking through some of these things, go to speakwithryan.com. You'll find the link in the description as well. But it's the easiest way to get on Ryan's calendar, begin that planning process, whether it's taxes, whether it's income planning, whatever it is that you're most curious about or really ready to start working on and working towards. That's the best place to start. All right, so let's talk music for a minute, Ryan. So you think about movies, the music is a big part of it, right? It gives the film movement, helps you understand what the characters are feeling, sets the tone, right? Carries you through the highs and the lows. So the best original score, who does that award go to?
I would say me.
Okay.
Well, just your advisor. If you're watching this and you work with an advisor, I mean, I'm not, I love music. I appreciate music. I am not, and I shouldn't say I've never really tried it. I know I can't sing at all. The good Lord did not bless me with a voice to be able to sing. But I've always had interest in maybe playing the guitar or playing the drums or whatever, but I've never done that. Maybe my extracurriculars were always sports and it just took me that direction. But I appreciate the music. But yeah, like I kind of compare a financial advisor to like a conductor, if you will. So they're kind of bringing in every area of the symphony. And again, I'm probably misusing words because I'm not a musically inclined person, but the conductor kind of brings all these parts of a financial plan. Again, whether it's taxes or investments or, who knows what, we're pulling those things in together, estate and all that. We're putting those together and hopefully making that music sound pretty good. So if you work with an advisor, or again, if you're watching this and you work with us and you work with Black Oak, I would say this award would go to your advisor to bring all these things together. Now, people have asked me, "Oh, I have multiple advisors." Okay, that's a personal choice. I disagree with it because if you don't ever see two conductors up front, because there could be just bad music all over the place. I'm not saying it can't work. If you're watching this and you say, "Oh, I got 3 advisors," and I just think that's a lot of noise out there. So I would pick one that you wholeheartedly trust and want to do life with and work with. So that would be my suggestion to do that, because you could just get completely conflicting viewpoints out there and it just may not work.
All right, let's close it all out like they do at the Oscars, Ryan, by handing out the big one, the best picture. So the best picture award goes to?
Yeah, that's got to be just the overall financial plan, like pulling this stuff all together. So, but it doesn't need to be 50 pages long. It does not. It needs to be simplified. Make the complex, make it simple. So that's our job, is to pull all this together and to have a overall financial plan. Obviously, most of that now is electronic, where you log in and see these things. There's usually not giant booklets that you get, because most people don't look at that stuff anymore. So we want to tie all that in. We want to tie in the insurance planning, whether that's life, whether that's long-term care, whether that's Medicare planning. So we want to tie in the insurance. We want to tie in, obviously, the investments. That's a big part of what we do. You want to tie in the estate planning. You want to tie in the tax planning and the retirement income. I mean, you start pulling all those together. And again, our firm even does tax preparation. We partner with a firm to help our clients do that. So there's really nothing we don't offer and help our clients with. So I would say just pulling everything together, the overall financial plan would be the best picture award.
Love that. Well, great movies don't happen by accident, right? And neither does a great retirement. Start by visiting speakwithryan.com, because you want to build that solid story. You want to have those strong characters. You want to have good support, right? All these things help put together a good financial plan. And we hope that, hey, maybe your financial plan will bring home one of those little gold statues as well. But hopefully this gives you a little different perspective on what Ryan and the team at Black Oak Asset Management do every day. If you want to learn more, go to blackoakam.com. Again, all that information is in the show description, so check it out. Also, please subscribe if you haven't done that as well. We'd appreciate that support. Ryan, as always, congrats on the Oscar, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Hey, I got one thing before we go.
Okay.
You said a little gold statue. I got a Dundee back there. So if anybody watches The Office, I got a Dundee.
I love that. Very good. Well, y'all take care. We'll see you again on the next episode.